Hi, I'm Zack Lamothe from Backyard Road Trips. I also have written books about Connecticut called Connecticut Lore, and I'm here in the Norwichtown Green to share with you some stories or off-kilter tales about the neighborhood here where I grew up. I have run a walk for the last few years as part of Walktober from the Last Green Valley in conjunction with the Norwich Historical Society about this region right here and stories that are associated with it. So here, standing on the green, I'm going to share with you some tales about houses right here on the green or located right near the green. So right here on the green, there are many houses that have ghostly associations with them. First being the Simon Huntington home. The oldest parts of the home date from the 1690s. Simon Huntington himself died at age 21 through being bitten by a snake. The home included uses as a tavern and as a parsonage for the church, has been a private residence for many years. A former owner of the home said that he had many instances of ghosts. One being, one morning, he was combing his hair in the bathroom, and looking in the mirror, he saw someone else combing their hair right alongside him. Dressed in colonial era garb, he said to the figure, "Hello, Simon," and it disappeared. Another story from the same ownership is about some modern art that was displayed in the house. The family put the paintings up and left for the day. Coming back in the evening, they noticed the paintings were askew or on the ground. This happened time and time again. They would put the paintings back up and they were fallen down. This only stopped when the paintings were moved to a newer part of the house. Another house here on the green, there are stories of a man and a woman seen in, again, colonial era clothing. And one neat story comes from a piece of decor that they had up in the home. It was a barn star. It was located on a windowsill, and the barn star fell with it sticking straight up, point side down, between the floorboards. So very interesting stories about this home. Another one right off of the green comes from the Samuel Abbott house. This house was built in 1752, leathersmith by trade, Abbott was. His family consisted of 9 children. And since then, there's been some ghostly sightings there. These include orbs, different smells being smelt, including cigar smoke, figures seen on the stairway, including a man dressed in a gray tuxedo. And there's also scratching sounds and moaning that is heard. One of the most interesting stories, though, comes from about 40 years ago. The owners of the home had a friend stay with them in a guest bedroom. Right as the friend was about to fall asleep, she opened her eyes and was witness to a wake scene. She dated it around mid-19th century. But even though it happened 40 years ago, she can still to this day recall vivid details, such as what the woman she saw was wearing, and the man and what his eyebrows looked like. Instead of being frightened or scared, she actually felt honored to be witness to such an event. Here we're at the grave of Hannah Waterman King Arnold, best known as the mother of Benedict Arnold. Benedict is not buried here. Benedict's buried overseas in London, but his mom is. Best known ghost story in all of Norwich takes place right here. This happens on Halloween night at midnight, when Benedict arrives on horseback to visit his mother here. Now, Hannah Arnold is not the only Arnold that's buried here, but unfortunately, the headstones of Benedict's brother, who died in infancy, and father were also here. But when news got out that Benedict became a traitor, citizens of Norwich ripped out the headstones and threw them in the nearby Yantic River. Here we are at the grave of Samuel Huntington, one of the most impressive stones in the whole cemetery. Huntington is one of Norwich's most recognized figures. He was the signer of the Articles of Confederation, of the Declaration of Independence. He was president of the Continental Congress and governor of Connecticut. Here we are at the grave of Bela Peck. Now, the grave is so impressive, let's give it a hand. This is the home of Governor Samuel Huntington, built in 1769. One of the most interesting features of it is the chimney. There is a relief of Mohegan Chief Uncas. It was put here when the Welty family owned the home. The likeness was researched extensively to find what Uncas would have looked like, though Native Americans were not held in the same esteem they are today, and people thought it was a real eyesore to see this on the historic home of Samuel Huntington. The Welty family is best known for organ manufacture, starting in Germany and moving over to the States. The Welty name can be seen inscribed all over the property, including places in the adjoining Lowthorpe Meadows. Speaking of the meadows, itself has some eerie things like cold spots that appear seemingly out of nowhere. The Samuel Huntington home is located close to the intersection of East Town Street and Huntington Lane. Huntington Lane, for a very small street, has a share of its own stories. One of them is that the face of a sea captain can be seen reflected in a lamp post. Another story involves Jedediah Huntington, who lived at the corner of East Town and Huntington Lane. He has been seen walking just above the street. His ghostly figure has scared some folks so much that they will not walk or drive on Huntington Lane. For a small street, Huntington Lane sure has a lot of ghostly associations with it. I hope you enjoyed our walk through Off-Kilter Tales of Norwichtown. It was my pleasure to bring these to you. Next time you're in Norwichtown, make sure to look every which way to see if you can spot the ghosts of Jedediah Huntington, those of the Samuel Abbott house, or even Simon Huntington himself. I'm Zack Lamothe, again, from Backyard Road Trips, and author of Connecticut Lore and more Connecticut Lore. It's been my pleasure to bring you this walk. Thank you.